How many of you have read a report on digital transformation in the third sector recently? Almost, I think, pretty much as many of the same people. And those of you outside this strictly charity sector may have read those reports too. And I just want to say, you know, I have loved many of those reports. There's an excellent one by Julie Dodd, who's here today. Fantastic. I think we may have reached peak transformation, which is what a point that I want to cover today, and how might we change the conversation around digital transformation a little bit in the charity sector. So that's what we'll cover: digital transformation, the trend, where it's come from, the case for digital maturity, and then some more information, the stages of maturity, and some tips. This is more for my benefit as well, because we know we don't have long, so we need to be nice and speedy. So more essential than ever before, I think. When I consider, you know, 5 years ago working in the charity sector, people were saying, you know, we don't need to worry about digital because we're a charity for older people. We don't need to worry about digital because of this or that. And I think now there are no excuses. And every day that passes, I just think of the increasing relevance of tools that democratize the world that we live in and give the voice, as other people have said today, give a voice to everyone, and enable people to access services that they would not otherwise be able to do. So it's incredibly important. And I think, you know, digital itself, you know, the world that we are living in is creating more of a demand. That's an ever kind of evolving, increasing thing. It's a circle. And that means that things like this happen. And, you know, we're not in Kansas anymore. So Kodak went bust in 2012, and in the same year, Instagram sold to Facebook for $1 billion. So there's no excuse. There's actually a real risk, and a serious risk, for charities who don't take heed and think about how they are responding to the world we live in. And here are some examples. And I think whenever people say, that's something that I get a lot, like, don't worry, you know, charities aren't being disrupted by digital. We're yet to see that happen to us. I say, well, Just Giving, amazing company and real benefits to charities, but also, you know, we've got this broker sitting between us and our donors and our supporters now, which previously we wouldn't have had. And charities don't always have the power in that dynamic. So it's definitely something to be aware of. Other brilliant examples, I'm not going to say the word, the hashtag, it's on the screen. That's enough. SolarAid, real new business model for them that came out of digital, and then Charity Water as another great example. But we know these examples by and large, and we have them to inspire us. So this digital transformation, for me, you know, somewhat like the Wicked Witch of the West. Potentially this phrase has been a bit misunderstood if you know your canon and you've seen Wicked or read the book. But, you know, we have a situation where, yes, we need a response to digital within charities. It's essential that we have that response. But potentially incumbents have got drawn away from the real issues, and we're looking for a big bang solution. We're looking for a caterpillar to a butterfly overnight. And especially within the charity sector, change can be more gradual. It needs to be sustainable. We need to ensure that what we're doing is meaningful and long lasting, particularly when we have so many beneficiaries who are relying on us. So I would make a case for digital maturity. It's really mature slide for that point, but I think rather than that big bang, we need something that talks about maturing along a continuum, something that gives rise to an evolution, because for many organisations, many charities are already doing great things in digital in some form, on some scale, and it's about recognising that, giving a bit more power and a bit more voice to the people within charities who are doing this work, giving them more investment, but in a way that's not a huge amount of money saying go off, do this, but is gradual investment that is sustainable. And we know about this, if we know about startup culture, sometimes too much investment at the wrong time can kill something. We need to do that in a sustainable way. And I'd say if you are interested in digital maturity and you might agree with me or think you would, then you need three things. You need brains, you need courage, and you need heart. So first, the brains. If you want to evolve and become more mature, more digitally mature, then you need to know your starting point. You need to know your current state. And you need a method to do that, and you also need to be able to set an aspiration, somewhere that you want to get to in the future. So at Breast Cancer Care, we had this need when we were setting our strategy, so we developed the digital maturity matrix as a way for us to measure that current state and our aspiration. And that's what it looks like. It's very funky, spider diagram. So we have 8 dimensions, everything from technology to content, campaigns and governance, the all-important one. And we can plot, through answering simple statements, where we are and where we want to be. So at the moment, you won't be able to see this unless you are a superhero like Detective Dot, but our overall score is 31%. Our aspiration is 56% maturity. So that's the gap we're looking to close within the lifetime of our strategy. We were really excited about this tool, and we realised that it was one thing doing it in isolation, but as Sam mentioned earlier, it's all about collaboration within our sector and doing that in the right way. So we shared the tool with a few amazing organisations, Diabetes UK, Stroke Association and MSF. They all completed the maturity matrix, and we could start to benchmark ourselves against other organisations. And that went really well, and people liked it a lot. So, excitingly, you can actually go online now. It was an Excel spreadsheet that you could download, but internally and as a project to boost up and support our internal development resource and give them a really cool project to work on, the guys in the team built it as a web app. So you can fill it in online for your organisation, download it, see what your maturity is. If you'd like to, you can share it back to us, and we're up for having more conversations around it as well. It's really, I think, a really good resource for the sector. So please do use that. So if we know where we are, we know where we want to get to, we need to enter into that process with courage. I think sometimes thinking about sustainable, gradual change and lasting the course, rather than just going in for a year, shaking things up and heading off again, that does take real courage. And through that process, I think there are 4 broad stages around digital maturity. Whether you are not really enabling digital in your organisation, you're not able to do that, there might be some blockers, so you're rejecting. You might be experimenting, which is a bit more anarchic and less formal. To organising, which a lot of charity sector organisations are in. You've got your core team and that's the main focus. And then evolving, which is the next stage around decentralising and making sure that everyone knows that digital is a part of their role and it cuts across the whole organisation while still having clear frameworks and a clear strategy. So I hope that Breast Cancer Care is entering into that evolving stage. I've pulled these from the Wayback Machine, but I'm really interested in this. There's a link on our old homepage that says what's here, and you click that link, you can still see that the content there is basically that this is a website. So that's quite fun. But now we're much more sophisticated, and many things have changed in that time. And something that we're really excited about is our project that we call internally Becca, because we wanted it to have a really friendly name and be something that people internally could get behind and fall in love with. And that's what we've been working on as part of the Fuse programme. And I think it's evidence of our digital maturity and the fact that that is evolving, but also it is something that has helped us become more mature, because the skills that we've learned as part of Fuse are now going back into the rest of the team and the rest of the organisation. So it's been an amazing opportunity for us to develop those skills and that expertise. So tips, if you want to improve your maturity, you've got to measure your current state so you can prove the value in what you do. Make some improvements, start that process, build relationships. I can put it as a point on a slide and say that it's really easy. That's the hardest part, but you've still got to do it. Follow up with that case for gradual investment over time, the team to deliver, and focusing on results, iterating as you go, just getting all those kind of keyword, buzzword bingo in there, but you've got to iterate. And the last but not least, remember your heart. This is what prompted us all to work for charities in the first place. It's the good in tech for good is crucial. As we've seen, that's not the only route, and we've seen other examples of different structures as well. But for us in charities, this is our USP, or our unfair advantage. So we're close to beneficiaries and their needs. We have those established networks. We don't need to go out and buy them often. We've already got access to them. We're incredibly passionate about what we do and we believe in it. And I think we have to work in a lean way because we don't have much money often. So it's always important to turn that negative into a positive where you can. So I'll end on this. We've got to enjoy the journey. They said there's no place like home, but there's nowhere I'd rather be than talking about this stuff right in the midst of it, working with our beneficiaries and giving them the digital tools and opportunities that they are calling out for all the time. So thank you very much.